This is the Home Improvement Channel's new van. Phil and Brad take on some mental projects.
We've bought one of the worst narrowboats money can buy.
That is Matt Armstrong's dream house.
They've bought a crash-damaged van and asked us to get involved. The question is, can we help turn it into a dream camper van? To answer that question, we jumped in the van and headed to Essex. So we've just arrived down here at the Home Improvements unit, and this is the VW Crafter that they're going to be working on today.
Right, now you're here. What are we doing?
First job is we need to get all of this out, so we're going to strip everything out of the van.
And we're going to start pulling out these walls.
Don't hit my walls.
The boys have bought a medium wheelbase high-top Crafter. It's a 2024 facelift model with just over 3,000 miles on it. It has been crash damaged at some point, but the guys have done a really tidy job repairing it, and it's on its way to looking like new again. If your van's been ply lined, now's the point to get it all out. Most vans have the lining fitted in 3 big sections, so grab yourself a screw gun and start pulling out the screws. You'll probably need a Stanley to take care of the silicone around the bottom edge, and don't forget the screw on top of the wheel arch, like Sam did, or you might embarrass yourself. The good news is this ply isn't going in the bin. I mean, the bit that we broke will be, but that was never part of the plan. Later on, once you're done lining inside the cavities with soundproofing and insulation, you can then reuse these panels to reline the van, having cut them down to size and lined them in your choice of fabric.
Right, so we've done this wall, now we're going to move on to this one.
On the near side, we're about to expose the wiring loom inside the top cavity, and you need to know exactly where all this wiring runs before you start drilling, screwing, or fixing any furniture into the van. One screw in the wrong place, and suddenly you've taken out your central locking, your lights, or knowing VW, half the van's electrical system. And look how easy that box comes off without that top screw.
We've taken the walls off, now I'm going to start ripping the floor up.
Cool. Nice, where you going?
Next up, we've got the factory floor. These phenolic resin floors are tough. They're water resistant, hard wearing, and they've been built to survive years of builders throwing bricks and rubble in the back of the van. If you're doing your own conversion, you've got a couple of options here. You can reuse this floor once you've insulated underneath, because it's still a really solid base, or at the very least, you can keep it to use it as a template for cutting your own new floor later on. But in this case, we're not going to need it. The boys will be fitting a pre-cut insulated sandwich panel floor, which is going on to give us a much warmer, quieter base. So this one is coming out. So we've got all those bolts out, now we just need to get them out of here so we can lift up the floor, which is going to be the hard part. Underneath, there's this ridiculously strong adhesive strip that does not want to let go. It needs a bit of muscle, but watch out, because when it goes off like a rocket.
What is that there?
Now that we've ripped off the walls and lifted up the floor, it is onto the bulkhead.
North. Yeah.
Alright guys, I've got this handled. Classic!
Luckily on a van this size, removing the bulkhead is actually way easier than it is on a transporter, where the bulkheads are welded, and it's just an absolute nightmare. But on the Crafter, they're bolted in, which makes for a much cleaner job. This bulkhead's held in with T25 Torx screws. You'll also need a T30 for the screws holding the grab handle up here. You're best to not undo everything at once. I'd leave 1 or 2 bolts in at the top until the very end, because once the last one comes out, it's going to want to drop suddenly. I'd bring in an extra pair of hands if you want it done safely and to avoid trashing your paintwork on the way out. And unlike the ply lining, this bulkhead isn't being saved.
Get out of it. Assistance!
Once it's out, you'll notice we're left with a gap at the back of the B-pillars. That's something they'll need to trim and finish properly later on. If your van was originally spec'd without a bulkhead, the factory plastic's wrapped neatly around and finish at the door rubber, which is actually a great tip if you're ordering a van from factory for your own conversion. With everything stripped out, now's the time to clean the van properly. It's not an exciting job, but it is important. Once insulation and panels go on, anything that's left behind gets sealed in. So you want to give it a sweep and vacuum, remove metal filings, treat any rust, and don't forget to seal all those cargo tie-down points and old screw holes with seam sealer. You want to make sure you're starting from a clean slate, and if you do it properly now, you'll avoid problems later. If the van's been spec'd with rear grab handles, let's whip them off too. because in this case, we're not going to need them.
I'm too hot to handle.
When they line a van for commercial use, they tend to cover the whole door. It's time to start thinking about what you want to do with them. They don't just need to be covered up, you've got the choice of windows, storage pockets, lighting, or in this case, the guys are going to be fitting a set of our molly panels. The sliding door area is often a dead space in a layout, as it has to remain free to let you in and out of the van. We use our sliding worktop here to get the most use out of the space available, because every bit of space needs to provide value in a campervan. Unlike the barn doors, you can't just attach anything you want to the inside of the sliding door. Anything that sits proud is in danger of scratching down the side of the van when the door slides open. So when you're planning your window blinds or curtains, they're going to need to sit inside that window recess.
We've took all of the ply from inside the van out. Next up is these plastic panels which were sat underneath.
Yeah, I'll use a hammer, I don't care.
Ideally, you want a proper fork trim removal tool for this,
Oh, that one we just don't even care. Get out of here.
or a flathead screwdriver if you're careful. The white circle you see on this panel is a cap that pops off to give access to the door release cable if you get stuck in the back of the van. We won't refit it because we've removed the bulkhead, so you can always leave via the front cab doors.
Much better. I'm glad I swept all this.
There's a ton of poppers to come off, and we won't be keeping these as they're only just long enough when the panels are bare. And once you're done with those, you can reuse these panels to be trimmed in automotive carpet or Alcantara. We'll be replacing them with something a bit more durable though. If your plan is to fit exterior additions to the back doors like a spare wheel carrier, ladders, storage boxes or bike racks, you'll probably want to leave these panels off to allow access for bolting through the outer skin. That's the van fully stripped out now, back to factory setting. It's time for soundproofing and insulation. But before we start that, we need to prep the surfaces. Every surface needs to be cleaned and degreased. Vans can be coated in silicone sprays and oily residues, and that all needs to go to allow us to stick straight onto the paint. And make sure you spray the panel wipe before you try to wipe it off.
Start again. I realise there's no any wife on it.
The system we're installing is going to be 3 layers, and the first is this. So this is a sound deadening, and it's going to go on the larger open panels because they're quite rattly, so we'll install it and then I'll show you what it sounds like.
Nah, you will probably. It's bang on, mate. Bang on. Sorted.
Just did a thing.
These sheets are basically there to reduce resonance in the metal panels. Big empty van sides act like a drum. Every bit of road noise, vibration and rattling just echoes through the whole shell. Sound deadening stops that. You need to use a roller to press the sound deadening sheets on with some pressure, or when the van goes through a temperature change and the metal contracts or expands, the sheets will just peel away and be completely useless. When it comes to fitting these, more's not always better, or your van will be nice and quiet, but the weight of a tank.
We're starting to move along on the camper now. We've put some sound deadening on. Now I'll show you the difference. So this has got some sections on, and then this side has got nothing. Much better. Now we've just got to do all of the rest. All of the sound deadening is in the van, except the wheel tubs. So we need to do these, but we won't be doing the floor, and that will become clear once we attack the floor.
We're not just doing the walls, we've got the wheel arches and the roof panels too. Any metal that's already creased, shaped or reinforced is naturally stronger and resonates less anyway, so there's no point in wasting material there, because this stuff is heavy. So we use it sparingly, just enough to do the job. Typically for a build like this, we'll use around half to 2/3 of a pack, roughly 30 sheets depending on the size of the van. So it's all about smart placement, not full coverage.
Step 1 is complete. Step 2? It does that on purpose. It's the thermal liner. I don't actually know what it does. I'm going to have to let the professionals explain.
This is the layer that covers the entire inside of the external skin. The insulation won't add heat, but it will certainly help keep it from escaping. Think of it like putting a jacket on the steel body, because without insulation, the van's basically just a big metal box. Freezing cold in the winter and an oven in the summer. So this step makes a massive difference to comfort. We're using a board on the floor to avoid scratching the interior of the van, and our insulation's going straight over the sound deadening we fitted earlier. And the best way to apply it, because it's so sticky, is in smaller, manageable sections.
Oh, sugar!
Don't try and wrestle one huge piece into place. Work it bit by bit, overlap the edges as you go. And this is important, overlaps are always better than gaps. A gap will let heat escape and condensation form. An overlap keeps everything sealed and continuous. The foam layer in the insulation creates an air gap which helps slow down heat transfer, and then the foil face does the clever part. It reflects radiant heat back into the van, so in winter it helps keep the warm air in, and in summer it helps bounce heat back out. It's a simple layer, but it makes the van feel completely different once it's finished, because it's not only about the heat, it also kills a lot of sound too. This is what turns a panel van into a proper 4-season adventure van.
We are smashing it through this job now. It's looking like a camper already, ish. But we're currently putting, what's this called, Fraser?
Thermal liner.
Thermal liner. We're currently putting the thermal liner in all these types of voids in the van, at the bottom, at the top.
No cold spots.
No cold spots. That's what we're doing. Should we carry on? Yeah?
Let's go. Let's go.
Or me just doing a little bit and watching them do it.
Next, the wheel arches. A lot of people miss these out, but they're the closest thing to the wheels and the road noise, and they're a single skin of steel to the outside temperature. Phil's measuring up, and he's looking like he knows what he's doing. He started at the floor level, and working round that line to where the wheel arch meets the side of the van. He then removes some excess, before adding some slits to allow the liner to flex round the curves to the top. After trimming off any overlaps, he's managed a really nice finish, and you should have seen how proud he was of himself. We've not insulated some of these panels, because the boys still have windows and skylights arriving, but other than that, the inside of the outer skin is now completely covered. Third up, we've got the Dodo Thermal Fleece Cavity Insulation. It's recycled plastic bottles, and we're going to fit it straight into the cavity. Everyone has their own ideas on what's best to use here. We like this as it's made from recycled plastic bottles, so instead of going to landfill, it's been turned into van insulation, and it works brilliantly for this kind of build. It's similar in properties to loft insulation, but the big difference is this is water resistant. When the warm air inside the van touches the cold steel, moisture forms behind the walls where you can't see it. If that moisture gets trapped, you end up with mould, damp smells, and in bad cases rust. This fleece helps prevent that, because it allows moisture to drain and evaporate rather than sitting hidden against the metal body. Now, one really important thing with this insulation is don't be tempted to overpack it. It's tempting to just cram as much as possible into every gap, but insulation only works properly because of the air pockets inside it. Those trapped air gaps are what slows down heat transfer, and if you compress it too much, you squeeze that air out, and the thermal performance actually gets worse. So the goal is a nice fluffy fill, not a solid block. Now we've just got the beams to take care of, and it will be warmer in winter, cooler in summer, and less risk from condensation down the line. While Brad and Phil get back to the front end repairs, for us it's time to work on the design. We've got a brief layout penciled in, but the details are still to be nailed down. The boys know what they want: make stuff move and make it look amazing. And we know we can do that and make it functional too, but it's all going to come down to the details. When we design a camper, there are key decisions to make. For example, how many people are travelling? What gear are you bringing with you? Once you have these main decisions made, it's often down to comfort. Are you sleeping front to back or across the van? Do you need a bathroom? And in a practical sense, what kind of trips are you going on? Duration, climate, season, there's a lot to think about. We've left the boys a to-do list so we can start working on the CAD design, so we'll check back in later where we'll be helping install some essential bits of gear to help transform this van into the ultimate adventure camper.
Right, that is it for one day. They've achieved a lot, so I can't thank these lot enough. Nice one. Appreciate it, brother. Thanks, mate.
Oh, nice one.
We ain't done this
already.
Stupid.